Back on the 15th of April 1912, 1,500 out of 2,224 passengers sadly lost their lives after the Titanic ship struck an iceberg, resulting in it being the deadliest sinking of a single ship up to that point. Now, of course, this isn't new information. In fact, this 100-year-old plus travesty is arguably more well known today than the vast majority of modern disasters to date. But the fact of the matter is, the world is absolutely fascinated with anything Titanic. Digging up old interviews that in some cases contradict each other, finding old documents and photos, and of course, even travelling down to the decaying wreck site more often than you probably realise to try and piece all of this information together. And then you got the artistic representations. James Cameron's absurdly popular movie Titanic from 1997 brought a whole new generation of interest to this devastating historic event, just like 1958's A Night to Remember movie, although obviously not to the same extent. And then you've got Saved from the Titanic, featuring Dorothy Gibson, who was an actual survivor of the Titanic, released the same year as the tragedy itself. Multiple songs have been released in memory of that dreadful day, museums open, theatre shows, memorabilia. If you slap the Titanic logo onto anything, it's gonna get the interest of the public, for better and for worse. And of course, that also includes video games. You can try and survive the Titanic in games like Adventure Out of Time. You can dive down to the Titanic in, unsurprisingly, Dive to the Titanic. Murder on the Titanic is a hidden object game and basic puzzle game, and you got a whole heap of other games, mostly for mobile phones too. However, none of these games have garnered the attention of hardcore Titanic historians more than the long overdue Titanic Honor and Glory. An IndieGoGo campaign. Well, actually 2 IndieGoGo campaigns for a game that is more delayed than most games and consoles that this channel has ever covered before. And today we're going to be looking into the history of this project to find out, is it just a big scam? In IndieGoGo's devastating Titanic video game. Welcome to Slope's Game Room. But first, a quick word from this video sponsor, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that sends you a whole box of awesome top shelf goods from under the radar brands. It's free to join and you can skip any month or cancel at any time. 90% of the products come from small brands, most of which are based in the USA, and every month Bespoke Post members get introduced to cool new products, outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing and more. And they get them based on the quiz that the members fill out. Every box has around $70 worth of goodies, but of course members only pay a fraction of that price. And best of all, you get to preview each box before it ships to make sure it's right for you. You can then of course keep it, swap it for a different box, or skip the month entirely and not get charged. As an example, the Weekender box is a great place to start, as the line of tray bag is perfect for trips to the beach or any getaway for that matter. Slopes also recommends the Over Easy box, which includes a cast iron skillet, pancake mix, pure Vermont maple syrup, and a Bloody Mary mix too. And as a supporter of the show, all you lucky peeps get 20% off your first box. All you gotta do is click the link in the description and use code SLOPES20. Thanks for the support guys, but let's carry on with the video. And what better place to start off than in 2011. A year that brought with it the super visually appealing video game Crysis 2. Can your PC even run Crysis, bro? Well, if it could, then it would no doubt have zero issues running the absurd amount of mods that fans of the game created using the game engine CryEngine 3. And like all modding communities, not everything is created equally. However, ORM Entertainment's mod was definitely catching people's attention. Titanic Lost in Darkness was the mod that ORM were working on, and in short, it looked to have promise. And according to the mod database itself, this German-based studio was developing a story to go along with it, where you take the role of Howard William, a poor boy who wants a new life in America. On the day of the 10th of April 1912, his life changed. He accepted a corrupt job and attacked a Bank of London. In request of police, he looked for a hiding place. This hiding place lay with the harbour pier of Southampton. Undiscovered, he came aboard the new luxury liner of the RMS Titanic without money, without friends, and without a name. Again, guys, bear in mind, English isn't ORM's first language. Regardless, you get the idea. For the time, this looks promising, and a lot of that work was supposedly created by the American side of the team. Thomas Linsky, Kyle Huddock, and Matthew de Winkler. Kyle and Matthew were the game designers, and Thomas, the hardcore historian, was the writer. Moving forward about a year to November 2012, and the Facebook page used to update backers on everything Lost in Darkness, that as you can see has been active since 2004, got completely wiped, as it was taken over by Four Funnels Entertainment and renamed Titanic Honor and Glory. Turns out that Tom, Kyle and Matt, the American trio, were Four Funnels Entertainment, and they had had enough. According to this utterly stunning launch trailer uploaded to YouTube that shows the grand staircase, this video's description made sure that fans understood that this new Titanic passion project was something completely, well, new. Question:
isn't this Titanic Lost in the Darkness or ORM Entertainment?
Answer:
the original game was not run well, and the original team took advantage of other teammates. This new game is most of the same team, the same modelers, same sound designer and same story writer, except with different leaders, a new business plan and better CryEngine converters. In the first 2 months of operation, Four Funnels Entertainment has surpassed what the previous administration accomplished in a year.
And just a butt in here, guys. Before the days of YouTube, you may not know this, but I was a DJ. I did quite well on the club circuit and the festival circuit, but what I really struggled with was getting people to follow me on Facebook. I built up a couple of thousand people, and I was very thankful to every single person that found me. Sadly, one disgruntled club owner that I worked for that had access to that page one day just completely wiped it and renamed it to something else. So I know exactly what was going on here. It absolutely sucked. And I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but let me just say, starting off your project by stealing a Facebook page from someone else is not a great way to start off. This stings for me personally. Obviously, there was a feud between the two Titanic games, as Honor and Glory and Lost in Darkness both continued being worked on at the same time by separate entities, and there's no shadow of a doubt that Honor and Glory was getting the most attention. And besides the stealing of that Facebook page, which obviously brought with them a load of people that were supporting something else entirely, the reasons were clear. Honor and Glory just simply looked way better. Over the years, a small but dedicated rivalry would take place between the two groups, as their fans and even Tom himself supposedly would take shots at Lost in Darkness's assets on their new struggling Facebook fan page. And well, not to jump ahead too far here, but Lost in Darkness eventually lost the battle, as in 2007, they stopped uploading and attempted to wipe the majority of their work and socials from the internet. Now, back in the world of Honor and Glory, in 2013, things were swimming along quite nicely. As we got to see update after update pretty much daily, the team brought in more and more volunteers, and as they painstakingly researched every single aspect of the photos and blueprints that they had to hand in order to make the game as accurate as humanly possible. Now, it's important to understand that this wasn't a game, and for the most part nobody cared about it being a game. It was going to be the most accurate remodeling of one of history's most magnificent structures. In fact, in this video here, they personally made a discovery when rebuilding one of the rooms that ended up not aligning perfectly with the diagrams provided. And in short, it was because of these guys' hard work on this game that they worked out that certain arches were designed differently on the Titanic compared to the Olympic ship, which up to this point many believed to have identical interiors in this room specifically. Again, this may seem completely pointless to the average bystander, but the important thing to remember is 1. Obviously, hardcore Titanic enthusiasts bloody love this sort of accuracy, and 2, it just goes to show how incredibly anal the team were at getting every single minute detail as perfect as possible. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead a little here, so let's go back to 2013 with the first IndieGoGo, Titanic Honor Glory Phase 2. Now, sadly, most of the videos on this campaign are now privatised, which makes it hard for me to sift through. But thankfully, what we are able to decipher from this campaign is that it is no longer a remodelling passion project, but instead a fully fledged video game.
The year is 1912. While on a train from London to Southampton, Owen Robert Morgan is arrested by Scotland Yard detectives for robbing the British Museum. Only thing is, Robert isn't guilty. Knowing the real villain will be fleeing England on the Titanic, the player breaks free and stows aboard the ship to hunt him down, bring him to justice and clear his own name. Hot on his trail with allies and enemies all over the vessel, Robert Morgan finds himself at the centre of one of history's most tragic disasters.
Not only is this a complete rip-off of that Lost in Darkness game, if you ask me, but it's also a seriously ambitious idea. Perhaps a bit too ambitious, don't you think? It was eventually discovered that several members of the team just didn't want this to go to IndieGoGo in the first place, and they definitely didn't want it to turn into a video game. However, with Tom running the shots, he saw it as the perfect way to bring on more investors. Because of this, several team members left. However, when looking at the campaign once again, we got to see that the team had actually grown somewhat since the start, which again consisted of only 3 people. Regardless, the campaign did hit its goal, and even though the videos are privatised, from what I've read on Reddit posts from people that were following it at the time, it was supposed to be coming out in its finalised version on the 104th anniversary of the Titanic sinking, which was April 14th, 2016. The money, according to the campaign, was going to be going on new computers for the team and new 3D modelling software so that they can continue their work. Moving forward, we got to see plenty more incredible screenshots and videos, but before you know it, in 2014, the game changed from being a CryEngine 3 created game and got ported to Unreal Engine 4. Of course, this definitely slowed things down, although according to the updates, things were still going swimmingly. That was until we got to Phase 3. As stated, a lot of people didn't like the addition of a story mode, they just wanted to explore the Titanic, goddammit, as accurately as possible, and this game was simply just way too ambitious for the, to be fair, growing but still super small team. And if you were one of the people that were worried by this point, you just wait and see what Tom had in store for their second IndieGoGo campaign. At first glance, the Titanic Honor Glory Phase 3 campaign that went live in early 2015 simply looked like the next step for the team, recreating the entire Titanic in full detail and authenticity, including the voyage and the sinking. Fair play. And then you see the price. $250,000 was the amount being asked for here, which they didn't reach, but thanks to our old friend Mr. Flexible Gold, they were still able to get away with what they raised, that being $60,405. However, when you do start to look through this campaign, you soon realise why they were asking for so much. No longer were they trying to recreate the sinking of the Titanic and of course include that perfect as perfect can be model of the ship, but they also planned to recreate a small chunk of the town of Southampton, which is where the ship set sail from. What? According to my rough calculations, and again these are very rough calculations, the team wanted to, as accurately as possible, recreate 2.37 square kilometres of 1912 Southampton. And yet, after all these years, they still hadn't finished the Titanic itself, which was just 175 feet. To put this into video game terms, it's roughly a third of the GTA 3 map, but of course with GTA 5 levels of polish by a tiny by comparison team. It was never ever going to happen. For many, this was the last straw. These guys were trying to make something that even the biggest AAA studios would struggle to get signed off. And what's more, the failed $250,000 goal, which I'm sure you will all agree sounded way too high at first, is in actual fact far from what they actually needed, as this campaign explains that they're gonna need closer to $2 million. And again, they raised $60K. If you weren't swimming away from this project by this point, you should have been. Thankfully for those sticking around, both campaigns did deliver on their physical perks, and for a while updates were quite common. Well, actually the last update came in just before the campaign ended, as Tom pushed for more money by offering up the release of the Sinking demo within the last 2.5 hours of the campaign. Sinking demo? What's that, I hear you ask? Well, if you have ever heard of Titanic Honor Glory before, it's probably because of this. This is the Sinking demo. Released on April 14th, 2016 as part of the Titanic's 104th anniversary of the sinking of the ship. Remember, this was when they supposedly was going to be releasing the game in full, which obviously they hadn't done. Still, we did get to see this sinking animation in real time, and for the time, this video was a massive hit for the team, and it gained them a crazy amount of attention. They got news coverage, and more importantly, they got a whole heap of views, which of course related to a whole heap of money. In fact, in an update video from Tom, he goes into detail about how YouTube for a while blocked them receiving money from said video as a royalty-free sound effect of a scream used at the end of the video, which was now being used in a commercial song, resulting in them having their funds blocked for a short while. A sucky situation, by the way, that quite a few YouTubers have had to deal with, and if you haven't, you will have to deal with this at some point. And even though YouTube did eventually give them the A-OK to use that sound effect, for that duration of the time they lost between $10,000 to $11,000, and this was when the video had significantly less than 30 million views. So if we do a little bit of math, considering that video as of the scripting of this video now has over 90 million views, I think it's fair to say that this one video could have potentially brought in almost as much as the second IndieGoGo campaign. Actually, you know what? Scrub that. It most definitely beats what that IndieGoGo campaign earned, as they also licensed out the footage to TV shows too. I am of course guesstimating a little bit here, but as a full-time YouTuber myself, and going by the facts that Tom himself released in those update videos, I'm piecing this together as best I can. Anyway, as great as this video was to the average follower of the project, it actually wasn't all that accurate, and as already explained, the Titanic community bloody love accuracy. The reason for this was because the video was created in only 8 days, and they weren't even using the latest model of the ship, but instead a model that came from an early mod. Because of this, plenty more hardcore historians went into extreme detail explaining how inaccurate this viral video was. Now let's get it straight, everyone was commending the boys for what they were able to pull off here in such a short space of time, but at the same time, they wanted to provide the team with advice for future revisions of the same styled video. But Tom wasn't having any of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the world of Titanic drama-filled hissy fits. A huge email argument commenced between Tom and another historian called Dr. Paul Lee, and the entire thing was shared on Dr. Lee's website in its unedited form. And to put it briefly, you Titanic historians are just as bad as each other. Dr. Lee was heavily criticising the project, but did offer up suggestions from his own personal research for the team. And Tom was very quick to shoot down pretty much all of his work, as he is working with other Titanic historians that contradicted what he said, which again resulted in one of the most ridiculous email threads I've ever seen. It's like two university challenge experts trying to outsmart each other. It's completely ridiculous. Legal threats are threatened, reputations are questioned, and worst of all, Dr. Lee gets so wound up with Tom that he calls him a snivelling little shoot. You can just imagine what he looked like when he was typing that.
is the charge. Eating a meal, a succulent Chinese meal.
He then requests that none of the research on his site is used in the Honor and Glory video game, as that would be hypocritical of Tom and the team, and unsurprisingly a good chunk of the community stuck by him. This resulted in more criticism towards Dr. Lee and of course towards the Honor and Glory guys, which ended with his deletion from the Honor and Glory Facebook page because, well, Tom wasn't having any of that criticism on the Facebook page that he stole in the first place. Anyway, moving on. We get updates and vlogs of sort, most of which are now delisted, and the team even travels to Belfast, describing what they want to add into the game. Again, the level of detail the team went to surpasses that of many AAA studios, in my opinion. It really is quite staggering. Well, actually, you decide. And what you see here is me playing the demo of that game, which Patreon supporters of my show have access to right now. If you want to support the channel and see videos like the one you're watching right now early and get access to the secret password zone, then please do sign up for as little as you wish. Links can be found down in the description. It's my aim to give supporters a 6-video advance from the public, so please do support the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Anyway, these updates came in thick and fast, and one of the main themes, besides letting people know that they're getting almost no money, and in a lot of cases literally no money for the game as a salary, it's all being worked on for free, is the fact that they are extremely close to outside investments. But do these investments ever come in? Maybe? I'm sure some of them amount to something, but then again, maybe not. Because from what I can tell, we never got to hear about any of them again. One Reddit user even claims that back in 2016, when Tom confided in him, he explained that there were no big investment opportunities on the cards. All of this was just one big fat lie to hopefully lure in more investors. And another user even claimed that he provided Tom with an investor, but Tom shot it down because that investor wasn't willing to put in $5 to $10 million. In other words, it was a fantastic idea that would have really helped the Titanic historical community. But just like my kid's idea for a video game that includes every single video game genre ever set in a world that's bigger than the solar system itself, it's simply just way too big of a project to ever get finished. They sell prints, they sell figures, they do whatever they can to raise money, and even though they claim to still be working on the game behind the scenes, those updates eventually slowed down as the project ground itself into a slow crawl, with Tom making even more wild accusations.
Some of the tech being developed by this LA studio with this game in mind is so groundbreaking that even the government is kind of interested in it. When this game comes out using this tech and using the authenticity of the Titanic and the graphics that we're putting into it, it's going to blow people away.
Oh my god. And don't worry, it gets a whole lot worse, as the game was going to include 220 unique NPCs, and that eventually got changed to 2,200 unique NPCs, one for every soul on the ship. Obviously, again, it was never going to happen. As you can imagine, when stuff like this was getting announced along with update videos that didn't include any real updates, but instead just tried to sell you more homemade Titanic tat, very few fans were left supporting this project. And the few that were left soon followed suit too. After the map of the Titanic, which showed the progress of the recreation of this magnificent ship, that was around about 80%, randomly overnight changed to 46%. Surprise, surprise, the game was hardly being worked on and was nowhere near finished. And when it was being worked on, it wasn't going on that original idea of exploring the ship. It had blown up more than Duke Nukem Forever and Intellivision Amico's Love Child. There was simply nothing that they could do. Well, nothing besides restructuring the company and kicking Tom to the curb. But let's get real here and cover my own back a little bit. Nobody actually knows why Tom left the company. All we do know is that Tom has left the project. The IndieGoGo campaigns that are in his name and his name alone that the Titanic game was associated with haven't been updated in years, as he moved on to pastures new with his own YouTube channel, Part-Time Explorer. And credit where credit's due, if you like history, you're probably going to like this channel too. It's actually really well made and a very successful channel. So, where does this leave Honor and Glory? The plan is now to split the team once again, with some of the team members just working on the recreation alone for historians to virtually look around. Thankfully, this project is called Titanic Project 401, and the remaining team members are working on that ridiculously ambitious Titanic Honor and Glory game, which I'm gonna be honest, is likely to never ever get finished. I seriously hope I'm wrong about this one, but I doubt it. As insanely incredible as this project is, here is some footage of the latest update. It is utterly stunning. Please don't think this video is bashing the incredible and beautiful work that these guys have done, but let's get real, it's been 12 years so far, an insane amount of money, and now a Patreon that's pulling in a decent chunk of change monthly, and the best that we have publicly is 50% of the ship complete. Sure, more is available behind the scenes, and giving them their due, they are now updating fans a lot more than they ever did before when Tom was involved. But is there really a light at the end of the tunnel? Or will this be a project that simply never ends, getting constant new additions added and taking endless streams of money from a fan base that are desperate to see it finished? Yet it probably never will. Boy, oh boy, I hope I'm wrong about this one. And yes, that is the website that you need to go to if you want to find out about when these things drop. Please, guys, look, even if you don't think you're going to be getting one, please do sign up. It'd just be amazing for more people to know about this. It helps spread the love and share the... Oh, mate, look at it. It's so cool. It's crazy that this thing exists. Look, let me see if I can... Is that right? Very good, very good. There we go. And look, so we got the Kickscammer mug right there that you always see me wear in my in that promo shot I always have of myself. We got the Amico. Is it the Amico though? Is it? Probably not. For obvious reasons, let's say it's not. Let's say it's not. Even though it does have, there it is, the dial as well. So we got the Slopes Game Room t-shirt, and it comes with a camel toe too. What more could you want? Hey, what more could you want? Slopes Game Room, the little plush. Please do go over to that website. It would mean the world to me. Look, guys, this is the part of the video I'd like to give a massive shout out to all of my supporters over on Patreon and all of the YouTube members that allow me to make these videos every week. But before I do, there's a lot of new people checking out the channel right now. And straight up, if you are one of these new people, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. I really do appreciate it. But now, let's give a massive shout out to those supporters that do allow me to do this every week. With an extra big shout out going to Ye Old Hamburglar, Wobbles and Bean the Wonder Ducks, Vike Echo, VPS Data, Vitas Varnes, The Sneaky Ferret, Dat Gamer, Stephen, Shadow Dragon, Sir Nilsson, Ryan Burford, Richard Aldergic, Roll VP, Paul Float, Over Giles Zane, Nicholas Bertner, Mind of the Unsane, Mike Fallon, Matt Jackson, Kat Layton, John Rogers, Jeff Mianowski, James, Jabba Al Aiden, Jay is Manchild, Ian Quell, Derek Huda, Dino81, To Action Saxon, Conrad Constantine, Clan Bob, Chev Matic, Casey Samples, Bram Perez, Boots and Pup, Benjamin Guy, Arista, Andrew Dalton, and Akatimo84, who is doing some awesome work with me on a very awesome special project. More on that, though, in the coming weeks. Look, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Give the video a like, thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You know how, that sort of stuff helps. It helps. I haven't talked about the bell in a long time. Hit that bell. No, I not hit the bell. Look, all this stuff does really help the channel grow, and right now it seems you guys are doing that a lot, so I can't thank you enough. Look, thanks so much, guys, and until next time, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.